All right, I hope this works. We'll see. There's lots of videos online about sonata form, and so, if this doesn't work for you, you can look one up and find it. Just trying to go over the basics. You may already know this, but I just want to make sure that what you learned, whether from your piano teacher or whatever, and kind of what the way I'm teaching it lines up. Okay, first and foremost, sonata is a form. It's a basic structure. And let's take clothing as an analogy, right? I'm wearing a shirt, short sleeve button-up shirt. They've probably been making short sleeve button-up shirts, for whatever. I don't know how many centuries. But each company, each designer is going to put their own little spin on it. Type of fabric, the tightness of the weave, the color, obviously, the cut of the, how baggy it is. So everyone is going to put their own little thing, but the basic design of a short sleeve button-up dress shirt is the same. So sonata form is the same. It's a form. It's a short sleeve button-up shirt, but then each composer is going to put their own personal, unique identifier on it. So I'm going to give it to you, and then part of what you talk about when you analyze sonatas is in what way does the composer adhere to this and what way do they don't. I hope this doesn't reverse. I think it'll work, but if it does, then you'll have to go by my voice more. So you may already know this, but three sections of a sonata. I should say, when we talk about a sonata form in an actual classical uppercase C sonata, only the first movement is guaranteed to be in sonata form. Sometimes the other movements are, most of the times they're not. But the first movement of a sonata will always be in sonata form. So it gets a little confusing. There's sonata form, and then there's a piece of music called a sonata. Okay, so if you're listening to Mozart symphony, in G minor, the first movement is in sonata. Oh, wait, that's not called a sonata, that's a symphony, but it follows sonata form, right? So there's a symphony that follows sonata form. If you are playing Mozart sonata in C major, the first movement will be in sonata form. The other movements may or may not be, okay? Sonata form has three distinct sections. There's the exposition, which is to expose the audience to the themes. Then there's it's called the development, where you develop the themes. And then there's to recap something, means like if I recap my summer, I took students to Greece, right? You're retelling the story. So to recap is to restate the themes, okay? So that's our basic, there's sonata form. I should put that up there. Sonata, S-O, sonata form. Okay, yay, sonata form. Okay. So when we're talking about melodies, we talk about themes. Again, every person is going to do it their own way, all right? But in general, the form is theme 1, theme 2, okay? In the development, it is any or all. Could be any of the themes or all of the themes. The main thing is it's not new material, okay? We'll get to that in a second. And then recap is going to be theme 1, theme 2, okay? Now, sometimes you do have what's called a transition theme in between here, and sometimes you have what's called an ending theme there, okay? Sometimes, not always. So I'll put those in parentheses. Transition theme, ending theme. So, and then when you get later, late romantic, the composers are throwing in 5 to 10 themes here, but there's still going to be one main theme 1, one main primary important theme 2, okay? But the farther you go in history, the more unique the short sleeve button-up shirt gets, okay? Keys. In uppercase C, which way is that for you? Uppercase C, classical music. This is going to be the 1, and the theme 2 is in the 5. If it's minor, boom, boom. Okay? Development, oftentimes they will rapid cycle through various keys. Recap, you have a few options, okay? 1, 1, 4, 1, and in minor, oftentimes it's 1, 1, 1. It could be that as well, but most of the time it's just 1, 1. Okay, so you have a few options for the recap. Again, that's how the composer makes it unique. And ooh, what are they doing here? Okay, so one thing to point out is why is 4-1 in the recap such a it just works. Why? Because that's the same proportional relationship. Up a perfect fifth, up a perfect fifth. Boom. Okay, so there's your basic sonata form. And anytime you're looking at a piece that utilizes sonata form, really what you're talking about is in what way do they adhere to this, and in what way do they, mess with it? In what way do they expand on it? In what way do they vary it? They're not really going to change it, but they are going to vary it and expand on it, okay? Last, one thing I'll say, the exposition. In uppercase C, classical music, boom. You can almost always spot the exposition, the end of the exposition, repeat sign, okay? Keys in the development. Like I said, we're going to hear these themes, but it will cycle through various keys. In the uppercase C classical period, and even mostly the Romantic period, they're going to be related keys, maybe a fifth away. And that's part of this is where composers put their own unique spins on things, and this is where it gives you material to talk about when you're doing your analysis. How are they developing the material? Are they changing keys? Are they extending or truncating the main themes and melodies? Are they almost like theme and variations, with the themes. Usually it's truncating or expanding and then varying of the keys is usually what it is. And then the other thing they'll sometimes do when we get to late classical is maybe in the development section they'll really focus in on this transition theme or the ending theme, and they'll barely touch on themes 1 or 2. One thing to note, there's no rule that says the composer has to include both theme 1 and theme 2 in the development. It's totally, that's why it says any or all, okay? Notice that we always begin on tonic and we always end on tonic. No matter what we're doing in between, we're going to begin on tonic and end on tonic. Now, until a composer doesn't, right? That's like saying, notice that my button-up shirt always has a collar. Well, until someone makes one that doesn't. All right, hope that helps.